Hey there, my friend. This is Paul Hutchings with Freedom Crusaders TV and paulhutchings.net. And I actually just posted a new post over on my blog about Chapter 5 of The Compound Effect with Darren Hardy. I'm super excited about this book. It's really having a big difference, making a big impact in my life. I recommend it, but today I wanted to share with you just a little bit about Chapter 5. So Chapter 5 of The Compound Effect is all about influences. Throughout the course of each and every day of our lives, there are thousands of little subtle things that lift us up and encourage us and inspire us to rise to our best heights. And there are also little subtle things that maybe discourage us and beat us down. And the point of Chapter 5 is about highlighting those things, making us aware of all of these little seeds around us that are either planting good seeds in us and nurturing our best achievement, our best thoughts, our best actions, or, the opposite. And so he breaks these down into three different categories. And the first one is information, right? When I think about the guy that says, hey, a little news now and then couldn't hurt. And so every night before bed, the guy glances at the headlines. 99% of those headlines are negative, and he goes to sleep at night, and all through the night, his unconscious mind is chewing on those negative stories. And maybe in the beginning, it's not a big deal. Maybe in the beginning, it doesn't really hurt that much. But over time, what can happen is all of those little thoughts that the mind is chewing on can turn into a belief that the world is mostly bad, that people are mostly bad, that the economy is mostly bad. And what do those beliefs produce in that person, right? Do they foster the desire to and the hope and the courage and the faith to go out there in the market and perform and build businesses? They don't, do they, right? And so the information that we put in our minds is really, really important, obviously, right? That's the first section. I actually heard in a podcast yesterday, the guy said information is the fuel of our thoughts. If we don't have good information, then we're putting bad fuel in our minds. We want to put good fuel in there, right? So that's the first one, the first area of influence. The second area of influence is people. And I've told this story before. You may have heard it in one of my other videos, but I remember when I was working a job back in the day, there was a point where, I would sit at lunch every day with my coworkers, and we would sit around and we would complain for an hour straight over our food, about how low the pay was, about office politics, about all the people that we were irritated with in management, right? And it just turned into this caustic environment where I started to notice that this is not having a good effect on me. And so what I did was I said, you know what, I'm going to do something different. And so every day, as soon as I made this decision, from that point forward, every day, instead of eating lunch with that circle, I would go into another room and I would spend time with different people who are writing books that were designed to teach me and inspire me and educate me, right? And so I remember this every day. I would read for my lunch hour, right? Read books like from Anthony Robbins and Stephen Covey and all these great authors. And I'll tell you what, here I am today, many years later, self-employed, right? Got a great lifestyle, paid off the mortgage on my house, right? I don't say any of this to brag. I just say that maybe that little decision to get around different people, and not just maybe, it really did, that little decision to be a little bit more conscious of who I was spending my time with had a big impact on the course of my future. And that's what Darren Hardy says. The people we hang around with, it really, really matters. So that's the second area of influence. The third area of influence is environment. And here's the main question, right? Is your mind, is my mind, are our minds free to soar and think and dream and fly out there into the future and be all that they're meant to be? Or are they weighed down with chains and weights by physical clutter and also psychological clutter? Are there commitments that we have, unfulfilled commitments? Are there unfulfilled promises that kind of weigh our minds down, right? Darren Hardy says these are forms of clutter, whether it's just clutter around our office that allows us to not think and perform and be organized, or these psychological pieces of clutter. And he says we want to do the best we can to clear our lives of clutter, both physical and psychological. And that way, the influence from our environment is good and conducive. So these are the 3 areas of influence Darren Hardy says to pay attention to in Chapter 5 of The Compound Effect. We've got people, we've got environment, and we've also got information. So maybe now would be a good time to just reflect on those a little bit. Who are the people in your life right now? Are they inspiring you to be the best that you can be? What's your environment like? Maybe take a little bit of time and clean some of that stuff up and let some of that stuff go. And then what kind of information are you putting into your mind? And here's on the information, and then I'll close out the video. But one of the things that I've noticed, in fact, I noticed this in The Compound Effect, very, very successful people have a daily habit of reading, right? Jim Rohn said his most successful people he knows, they're so curious. They just read. They have to know, right? Darren Hardy every day reads first thing in the morning for 30 minutes from a good book, and every night before he goes to bed, 10 minutes from a good book, right? So that would be one daily discipline I would highly recommend. If you don't have that habit yet, pick up the book of the month, right? The Compound Effect. Make this a place to start, and do this. I really believe this will have a big impact on your life. So with that, guys, thanks for watching this video. You can find me at freedomcrusaders.tv or my blog at paulhutchings.net. If you haven't subscribed, head on over there. I got a bunch of free goodies. You can grab one of those. And also, I do send out a daily blog post. It's called the Freedom Crusaders Audio and Newsletter Series. Send out an audio every day, as well as a post that's carefully crafted to inspire you, teach you, instruct you, and myself as we continue moving forward, building lives of financial freedom, right? So thanks. Have an awesome day. If you got value from this post, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. Take care, and bye for now.